Septimont is the best region of Wuthering Waves yet. The story, the optimizations, the music, it's all the best we've seen from this game so far, and I am beyond happy with how this game is being handled. We have a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. Let's start with the exploration because I don't have a lot to say about it. Septimont is huge. After the Sanguis Plateaus got added, it might be bigger than Laguna. I already told you guys in my Laguna video I slightly prefer Laguna because I like the fantasy/wonderland look more, but Septimont still has some really cool locations, like the gigantic underwater base in the Mino sewers. The main thing I want to talk about is the story, because the story has kicked up quite a few notches. In the Laguna video, I said the devs were starting to combine the main story quests with the companion quests. With 2.4, that change was in full effect, and in my opinion, it is the best optimization change Kuro has made. There are so many upsides to this one change. One, we have gotten 6 story patches in a row. I do think we'll still get filler patches. Kuro can't cook hard every patch, but still, there hasn't been a filler patch since June, and that's crazy to think about. 2, there are now 2 and sometimes 3 story quests per patch instead of 1. I really enjoy the story of this game, so more of it is awesome. 3, they split the 2 story quests every patch in the 2 phases. The first one would come out in phase 1 and the second one would come out in phase 2. Because of this, there's now only a 3-week wait between story quests, which is insane. I'm used to waiting 6 weeks for one new story quest, so it's awesome and it makes me feel a little spoiled. That is such a short wait. It helps me recall what happened in the previous quest easier. It's a great way to keep people involved and invested in the game. 4, every quest is much more memorable now. Seeing the characters' individual stories and struggles, then seeing them overcome them in the climax of the quests is so satisfying every time. There is one downside to this change though. I now have a buttload of stories to talk about in this video. Compare the story that came out for Laguna and Septimont, and it's night and day. Let's get into my thoughts before this video is 45 minutes long. Starting with 2.4 or Acts 5 and 6. This is my least favorite of the Septimont patches. That's not to say this one was bad, this just goes to show how good the other patches are. That being said, I do have a different opinion on this patch than most. I liked Act 5 more than I did Act 6, which is a little backwards considering Act 5 is the setup, while Act 6 is the epic climax. I just thought Act 6 was a little too similar to Act 4. When Lupa was walking and making that speech about choosing your own destiny and being free, I just thought, oh, this is that Carthea scene. Lupa being a vessel of the Thronodian, there were some differences like the time loop aspect, but it was very similar. That's not to say it was bad. Act 4 was really good, therefore this was really good. The cutscene and climax still hit, it just hit a little less because the whole time I was thinking we just did this 2 quests ago. Meanwhile, Act 5 had the Great Aegon, which meant there was a lot of combat, and I love the combat in this game, so that was great. And exploring Septimont with Lupa was very fun. She's a delightful character, her expressions are awesome, she's full of life, the fastest I've fallen in love with a character in this game. Her personality is very fun. Kuro did a great job with her. My favorite part about the 2.4 story is Mia. I thought it was very brave of her that she decided to kill herself to prevent the Thronodian from fully infecting her and hurting other people. A true warrior that was sent off in a great way. 2.5 added Act 7 cutscene and a segue, which is a new quest type. I'll talk about that later. I was very excited for this patch because this was the Filova patch. I love Filova. She's one of my favorites. I really wanted Kuro to do her justice, and I am happy to say that this is my favorite quest not only of Renacita, but of the whole game so far. This quest is a masterpiece. Filova's story is so sad. I cried so much to the end of this quest and felt depressed for 3 days afterwards. Not a lot of gacha quests do that to me, so this was something special. My heart broke for Filova because she just had everything that she loved stripped away from her in an instant. I can't imagine what that would be like. That's awful. What made it worse was the bittersweet ending she got with her death scene. She merged with the Beyond, so at least she's now with the people she cares about. On one hand, I'm glad she's in 2.7 because I did not want her and Rover's story to end like this. On the other hand, I'm so glad she's with the people she loves. She deserves a break. I almost want to leave her alone. In the Huanlan video, I praised Camelia's companion quest because it was different from the Rover saves everyone type of quests we're so used to seeing. The quest painted Rover as a semi-villain that abandoned Camelia because Rover erased her memories. I said I wanted to see more of that because that was very interesting. In this quest, we did get more of that. After Filova lost everyone she loved, she met Rover, and Rover made a promise with her that she'll return. I assume due to the memory wipe, Rover forgot that promise, leaving Filova all alone. Instead of still loving Rover like Camelia did, however, she was pissed and started going off on Rover, which was kind of cathartic. Made me wish Camelia got pissed too, because everything Filova says is true. Why did she leave such an important memory behind just to start anew? What reason would we have for abandoning our friends? What secrets are we hiding? Makes me really curious who we were in the past, and this is yet another reason why I love Filova. Doesn't help that Rover makes some pretty bad takes during their conversation as well. What makes this even more complicated is Rover isn't exactly in the wrong either, because she was turning the people she loved into tacit discords. That's not okay. She went too far. She's still a villain. I want to get mad at Rover for what she did because I love Filova so much, but I can't, and that's what makes this quest genius. The Beyond became a permanent place after the quest, and people found out that Kuro gave Filova a schedule for what she does in the Beyond. I don't know if I like or hate Kuro for that, because I cry every time I see her happy with the people she loves. Alright, enough gushing about that quest, I'm moving on. Segues are interludes in between main quests. Think EX chapters in Honkai Impact 3rd. Let's just say the first half of 2.5 carries 2.5. This quest was very forgettable for me. It was a sneak peek of Act 8 where we got a little bit more of Augusta's story. It was told through cards though, which was not very interesting. Her Zero to Hero story is nice, but that's all. The most interesting part of this quest was Nestor, this weird guy who was our narrator for Augusta's story, and before we could ask how he knew all of this, he turned into a bunch of paper cranes. Weird. 2.6 included Acts 9 and 8, and while they weren't as good as 2.5, this was still a good patch. Act 8 was about Augusta. It was a little long, the companion quest portion could have been told better, and there was a little too much standing around and plotting what to do next, but other than that, this quest was great. Being told that you're useless by the Dark Tide for 16 years would be humiliating. No wonder Augusta is as strong as she is now. She wanted to prove the Dark Tide wrong, and oh boy, she definitely did. Augusta's awesome. She does whatever it takes to get a happy ending, but also has a sense of camaraderie, is very humble and very friendly. Her speech at the end was very sweet. The music felt like arcane music, and that's all I have to say about this one. Act 9 was slightly worse than Act 8 for me because I found Act 9 to be a tad predictable, only because all of Septimont thus far has been about breaking the binds of fate and making a happy ending for ourselves. So at the beginning of the quest, as soon as I heard Yuno say that this was prophecy and it can't be changed, I thought, yeah, we're going to save her. Just because this quest was predictable though does not mean it's not good. I liked that we saved her. The bittersweet ending where everyone sees her as a stranger now was unexpected though, so that was a nice touch. Yuno and Rover's relationship is really cute. I'm a sucker for tsundere, so Yuno was a favorite right off the bat. Hand-holding being an actual mechanic is really funny and adorable, especially since you can do it even after the quest. The only thing I hated about this quest was getting a glitch that wouldn't play this on at the end like it should have, which sucks because if I did, I probably would have cried. That song is so beautiful. We also had Avidius in these acts, and he confused the heck out of me. I knew he was a creation of Cristoforo. By the way, that's insane. My man's playing God over here. I never really got what Cristoforo wanted to do with Avidius, though. That question plagued me throughout 2.6, and it drove me crazy. He was a cool guy, and I felt for him during his existential crisis in Act 9, but he was very confusing for me. 2.7 had 3 quests, Acts 10, 11, and another segue. People say Acts 10 and 11 are the best quests in the game. I still think it's Act 7 because the way it made me feel at the end was second to none, but this was a close second because there were so many great moments in these quests. We get another sneak peek of the goddess that we saw at the beginning of the game, which is exciting. Very much hoping we see her again in Lahairoi. Avidius's death was great. Cristoforo reveals that Avidius was just a distraction. A distraction for what? I'm still a little confused on that. A distraction for the Thornodian? I'm not exactly sure, but Cristoforo seemed satisfied, so I guess it was a success. Avidius went out like a true hero though. He went out of his way to help the main group, sacrificing himself and making a name for himself, even though he was just supposed to be a distraction. For a guy that was only in the story for 3 acts, he's pretty memorable. I didn't understand him fully, but he was a great addition to the game nonetheless. I also called the twist from the beginning, which was pretty hype. Oh shoot, are we the Harbinger this time? Oh my goodness, I knew it! Act 11 was where the real fun began, however. The Avengers moment was great, the whole team coming back after so long was amazing, even the Black Shores and Calcharo got in on the action, which was random but fun. Galbrenna is the most interesting character we've gotten so far. She got infected with the Dark Tide at a young age, but instead of giving up and getting killed, she harnessed the power of the Dark Tide for herself and uses it for good, which is incredible. But with that also comes the sense of tragedy. She reminds me of Savore from Honkai Impact 3rd, where if she does not keep fighting, the tacit discords that are inside her will start eating her from the inside and she'll die. A very complex and interesting character, and I loved her inclusion in this finale. There are 2 specific moments where she did something that made me freak the heck out and fanboy. Ooh! Oh, we're using his body as a surfboard? Oh, that's so cool! Galbrenna, I want to be like you one day. The point is, I really like her. I love that she joined the Black Shores at the end. I hope we see her again. We finally got to see the leader of the Fraxidus, and he was cool. I've nothing more to say about him other than it was nice to finally meet him after we've heard about him so much. His last words to us were very interesting though. Still think Grover had something to do with the Fraxidus in the past. The login screen lore was pure fan service, but I ate it up. That's the rock! That's the main menu! I'm pretty sure most people did. The lore of the login screen doesn't have much to do with anything, it's just Rover's mind, but it was awesome that Crow included this. Rover's character development was really sweet here, with Galrena telling her that she doesn't have to do everything alone. The boss fight was magnificent, the animation had so many moving parts to it, I still couldn't keep up after watching it multiple times. The song and epicness of it all made me tear up. The Abraxas line caught us all off guard and was incredibly interesting lore-wise. Does this mean we have a Thernodian inside us? What does that make us? Frolova was in 2.7 but didn't interact with the cast or talk at all until the end, where she announced she was leaving the Fraxidus. That does make sense for her character. Since 2.5 we've known she wasn't a normal Fraxidus member and was just doing this to get what she wanted. Now that they have nothing to offer her anymore, she's leaving, which is great. All power to her. I look forward to what she does on her own. I really hope the Fraxidus leaves her alone, but I don't think they're going to. Not going to lie, I hope for an interaction with Frolova in 3.x, because while the scars of 2.5 have faded, they're still there, but whatever happens, happens. I think I got everything I wanted to cover. There was so much peak in 2.7, it's kind of insane, but I believe I got it all. The Segway quest was alright. Just like the last Segway quest, it's pretty forgettable. I really liked the Geshu Lin section. The animation was great, and I'm glad he got more characterization. The Fenrico section was also pretty nice, but other than that, it was meh. I had no expectations for 2.8. I thought it was going to be a filler patch, and even when the live stream revealed that it was going to have a story, I didn't even react because I thought Lahairoi was next and I had no idea what this was going to be. So I went into it having no expectations, and thankfully it turned out to be a hidden gem. It wasn't as good as 2.5, 2.6, or 2.7. This was clearly a side story to hold you over until 3.0, but I don't care. I had a great time with this patch. It's Kuro's take on an anime episode pretty much. There are so many references to popular anime in this patch, and it's just a really fun time. Honami is very beautiful, especially with those sakura trees. Kuro knows it too, and they use Honami to its fullest extent. Every frame of this patch is gorgeous. The sun peeking through the trees, the sunset, the nighttime. Some of the angles Crow uses are absolutely stunning. Everything is screenshot material. This is not the best patch of the game, but would it be wrong to call it the most beautiful patch in the game? Chisa is an angel, she's really cute, and every interaction with her and Rover had me smiling ear to ear. I'm saving that immediately. I'm taking another picture, saving that. Taking a third, saving that. Okay, I'm done now. Oh! I will treasure this forever. Chisa's story was tragic but enjoyable to play through. I also liked the necklace she was wearing. I didn't really, in context, the necklace is horrible, but it was used as a nice storytelling device. I love how the beeping is constant now. It wasn't constant earlier in the quest, and it's like a constant reminder to her that this tragedy happened. Oh, I love how they're doing this. I don't care if I get hate for saying this. Her story was way better than the last act of Huanlong. Shorekeeper can weep for all I care. The ending about Rover being a student at Star Torch Academy made me very happy, because as much as I loved the Renacita storyline, there have always been two main issues I have had. They did address both of them in 2.7 and 2.8, which I appreciated, but I'll still go over them. My first issue was that Crow was forgetting characters as soon as their designated quest was over. In 2.7, they brought all of the Renacita cast back, which is lovely, and Camellia came back in 2.8, which was a wild time, but still, I hope the next time we see them isn't 5.3. Let's not forget we haven't seen Yang Yang since 1.3, we haven't seen Chisha since 1.2 or 1.1, it depends if you were there for the festival. Jinshi, Chainli, Jian, I like these characters and want to see them again. Kuro, bring them back, please. My second issue was that we haven't had any lore on the rover at all until 2.7 in this moment in 2.8, which is great. Rover's identity is really intriguing to me, and this is the closest we have ever gotten to uncovering the truth. In 3.x, we're going to the region where we went to school. That is huge. This makes me very hyped for 3.0 and also makes me hope that 3.x is going to have a lot more to do with finding our identity. That is all for my Septimont review. What do you guys think about these patches? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, I'd love to read them. Septimont has propelled this game to my favorite gacha I'm playing right now. Every patch is such a blast to play through. The game keeps evolving and one-upping itself, which is really impressive. I always know I'm gonna have a great time when I boot up this game, and I just love the direction Crow has taken it. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this review. You can see what I thought about the other regions if you click the videos on screen now. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.